Oh there. Oh, it's a slipper day.
I've been wearing my slippers for almost every one of these in the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Just noticed maybe it was making extra sound going over the dust that's laying on the floor.
Maybe.
Look at that, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. That's not straight. We have our lamps on. That's true. Reminder, that's a three-way light. Oh wow, we are
Very bright.
we're vibrant.
What?
Carla, that's the old Irish blessing. I hope your coffee pot mugs are full and your countertops are dry. Yes. As
Almost.
St. Patrick once said.
Wow. You've made a mess.
I've made a mess. Well, I think it was that silly shop vac. And I wish I would have realized it instead of after I'd been doing it for like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't realize we owned a shop vac. So.
We didn't. We don't. It's over
Oh.
at the. It was from the church. Steve brought it over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about that.
Well, we're not going to use it again. That's for darn sure.
Right. No, we're gonna have to do something about that.
Oh yes, I will. I will work on that. That's
We'll figure it
It's
out.
on my agenda to
Figure it
clean
out.
up. Well, our
Is it translating us? What language has it chosen today?
it's
Swahili?
not translating us, but
Nope.
it's doing our captions automatically. Don't know why that is.
I don't think it shows up on their screen, so
What?
I don't think it shows up on their screen, so I think
Oh.
we're okay.
Okay.
Bum bum bottom bottom. Ba-dum-bum.
Oh, I forgot my visual aid.
No problem, Santa. Don't worry. I was not concerned. I appreciate those thoughts. Birthdays to me are days just to hide. It's too much attention. I don't appreciate it. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my. Bum, 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 bum. We have a parish council meeting tonight.
As well as Padres and Madres Orantes. We need to remember to bring over the monstrance.
Oh. Oh, okay. Shoot. Okay, I had meant... I did not get an email about... Well, no, the parish council meeting was communicated to me. It went to my junk mailbox for some reason, so I didn't know about it until this morning when I was looking at my junk mailbox. Now I have to tell somebody. Now we have Padres and Orantes at the same time.
Uh-huh.
That means that I can't jump out of that and go to... and have a meeting with the Morgans I was planning on having. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Just didn't get to communicate to me for whatever
Oh,
reason except for
sorry.
the junk mail. So all the flock notes keep going to junk mail for me, and I can't stop it. I've been trying to stop it, but so I have to check that just to see what the flock notes are.
That's okay.
I'm just gonna have to tell the Morgans that we can't do that. Fix it.
All right, well, I think it's time. Good morning, everybody. It is 10. Sorry, we lost track of time there for a moment. All right, well, welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the fireside chat for... What day is it? Thursday?
It is Thursday, May 7th.
Thursday, May 7th.
Mm-hmm.
You've been 27 now for 2 days?
I have been
Or
27
3 days,
Well,
I guess,
it
depending
depends
on
on
how
how
you're
you
counting.
count it.
Yeah.
Are we doing like church counting? Because then it would be like 4 days, wouldn't it? No, I was joking.
Right.
True to them. No, because it would be Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday. So if I started Tuesday evening, the vigil of my birthday, then it would be like
Right,
beyond
that's right, yes.
all Tuesday, all Wednesday, and we're on the third day.
On the
I
third
should
day.
rise again.
Very
Has
good.
anybody? I feel as though I don't have a resurrected body, but am I glowing? Am I glowing,
no.
Father Kent?
I'm not going to stick my hand into your side either, so...
I wasn't going to ask that. No, that's a little too far from me. Why do you think that I have a wound in my
I
side?
don't know.
Maybe it's in the back. Maybe you're stabbing me in the back. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess so. So welcome, everyone. Welcome
Good
to
morning.
Father Greg. Hello.
Who's sitting in the
I'm
back?
here, and the fireplace is here at this time.
I really wish it would stop this. I'm just trying.
So now it looks like he's like right at the... Sing us a song, Mr. If we put it right there, then it's like he's singing
Song Father
song.
Greg Hummus.
Sing us a song, Father Greg Hummus. Sing us a
The
song
song
from
this
the
morning.
fireside.
This is bad. I'm so sorry, people. Some shows
Yes.
need to be canceled. There's a reason they have their up and then they have their down.
Don't forget to tune in. I think he's on tomorrow, Being with God, and I'm sure he's going to sing you a song. So
Yeah.
I'm
actually
he's
writing
taking
this
he's
song.
taking requests.
Yeah.
So just ask him. Could you please?
None of this is true.
He'll sing whatever you want. So. Hope you're doing well there, Father Greg. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? What are you doing? Keeping your community in the distance, keeping yourself sane during these times.
So I did something interesting this morning.
Oh, you did? You
Uh-huh.
tell.
I jumped into the Zoom meeting for all the 8th graders.
Right.
So the 8th graders
Which
are...
I didn't know about.
Well, you see, I found out about
insider
it through... Well, I was talking to an 8th grader the other night, and the 8th grader told me that my name was brought up in one of the 8th grade speeches. And I said, 8th grade speeches? And she goes, yeah. And I said, well, can I jump in on those? She goes, absolutely. So I emailed Miss Swearingen is asked if I could jump into the 8th grade speeches. These are the students essentially trying out, or I think every student had to write a speech, and then the students in the 8th grade class voted on which one they wanted given at the 8th grade commencement ceremony.
Oh, okay. And
So-
where is that 8th grade going to?
I no idea. No idea. I'm finding things as we come along.
Okay.
I
Good to know.
think I heard something about Tuesday, but I don't think that is it itself. So
Okay.
I'm not sure. But the speeches I heard were really good. I was very impressed by our 8th graders.
I think it was scheduled for next Wednesday, if I recall. We're supposed to have the graduation mass on Tuesday, which I just realized yesterday. The schedule's all weird. I mean, it was on my schedule at one point in time, but I think we're not doing that Tuesday morning mass now. But we'll probably just do our normal Wednesday schedule since everything is just weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to check with Ann about that, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I need to figure out what
What are we
what's
gonna
going
do?
on.
How it? Yeah, it's all very strange.
Yeah, it's very strange because I hardly check my calendar anymore because and I gotta be careful about that because I do have a few appointments on there, but
Right.
Everything is just so weird, and I just presume that I have no appointments. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got some Zoom things I'm doing, and those are I'm generally able to remember those.
Right.
Everything still looks a little dusty up here, doesn't it?
It does. There's a haze.
There's
a
a
haze
haze.
in the distance.
So as I've been saying, I've been taking down the popcorn ceiling,
Right.
which was possibly one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was maybe not the wisest thing.
He did not consult me before he began this
That's true, I
hearing.
did not.
I was going to, if he had to consult me, I would have advised him against it. But I've
So-
taken down these ceilings before, so stuff like this, not exactly this one.
Yeah, they tell me that I will love it once it's done. I am yet to be convinced. But
Mm.
also, I learned an important lesson that shop vacs have an exhaust on the back of them. So if you try to vacuum, or at least the one that I used.
Well, yeah, it all depends on how they're built. Most shop vacs shouldn't have had the issue that we had. We probably needed an extra part that I have actually. I don't. You've told me the existence of a shop vac. I've not seen it with my own eyes, so I'm taking your word on faith. I believe a shop vac exists, and it shall rise on the third day. But most shop vacs have a filter, and it would stop this. So maybe the filter's not installed properly, or something like that.
Right, I don't know. But
Yeah.
so I tried to vacuum that up, and I guess it was shooting out the back end, which I didn't realize until about 3 or 4 minutes in, and now there's dust everywhere.
There is.
And it's even upstairs.
Upstairs, dust in my
I don't think-
coffee.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think I got to the
Dust in
second
my
level, but
dreams.
hopefully not. I don't see
Mhm.
anything upstairs. But
I've not.
this downstairs, I'm looking around, and there's this is a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I am not convinced that this was a good project to take on, but
Mm-hmm. Oh well.
too late
We all
now.
make
I gotta
mistakes
finish it
in
now.
life.
What?
We all make mistakes in life. It's
We
okay.
do. We do. So, but I wanted a quarantine project, so that was good. But this was probably the wrong one.
Oh well. It's okay.
There it is.
We learn. But I was saying, the 8th graders' speeches were really
Yes.
good. I was really
Good.
impressed with them.
Very good.
The 8th grade class that we have are really a whole class of characters. When I was when
What's
we
your
had
grade class?
school, what's that? When we had school, I loved jumping down there and joining in on their frivolities. One of my favorite days, all the boys had gone over to one of the computers on the side, and they were looking up songs online, and they were like, Miss Ranger, I think it may have been Miss O. Miss O, can we sing? Can we sing? And all the 8th grade boys went around the computer and started singing. I think there were songs from some Disney movies, and they were all standing there singing, and the girls were out not paying any attention to them. They were all doing it. It was hilarious.
I love it.
They were they're very frivolous class in the best way possible. So
Very good.
mhm.
Sarah Jacobson just said that they finished Foyle's War.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That takes
You
some-
like started like season 1. You watched all 9 seasons. That is impressive.
Yeah, we have not done that.
No, we're still on season 5.
I'm not sure whether
They
to
started
be
on season
impressed
3,
or
I think.
depressed.
That's pretty amazing. Now again, there's only like 2 or 3, sometimes 4 episodes per season,
right.
but
Mhm.
still,
But we're only on season 5, and we
5,
started
right?
at 3.
I know.
We only end
So
up watching like
that's impressive.
1 or 2 episodes a week. So.
Right, right. But yes, it's a great show. I'm glad that you enjoyed
Mhm.
it. So I'm glad that you took us up on that recommendation.
Mhm.
Marilyn says, "Do I need to borrow a shop vac?" Well, maybe one that works properly, but I'm not sure if I ever want to touch a shop vac again. What a disaster that was.
Well,
I need to clean it up in some way. I might need to hire a cleaning crew or something to officially clean.
Yeah, we'll figure this out. Oh my. My. Well, I have discovered a new fear.
Do tell.
Yeah, so I'm not a very fearful man. There are few things that really get me, keep me up in the night, one might say. One of the things that I don't like whatsoever, even though I know there's nothing wrong with it, I don't like bees.
You don't like bees, eh?
I don't like bees. So my dad is actually very allergic to bees.
Okay.
And he can go into anaphylactic shock if he gets stung.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I think the fear of bees that I have is legitimate. It was brought. Now, I'm not like, I don't like start shaking if I see a bee around, but I don't like it buzzing around me. I kind of get away from it. I remember one time when I was a little 7 or 8 year old playing baseball. I remember being chased by a bee in the outfield at one point. I don't know why the bee was chasing me, but I remember like running in circles trying to get away from the bee. I just don't like bees. We've not had a good long relationship with these things. If you know, there are other species of flying insects. Mm-hmm. Do you know what would be a very closely related one to a bee? Can you imagine?
A wasp?
A wasp, yes. Uh-huh. Now, what would be even worse than a wasp?
A murder hornet?
That's a very specific one, but yes, a murder hornet. Now, that sounds like something you'd find in Hunger Games, wouldn't it?
Yes, right.
The whole thing. So I was reading, we all know about, I'm sure you've read online about the murder hornets that are invading the United States that kill upwards of 50 people a year in Japan. 50 people a year.
Death by hornet.
Death by hornet. And so I was reading about these things because you got to know your enemy. You know what I mean? Right. You have to be prepared. These murder hornets are ferocious little things. First of all, they're 2 inches long.
Oh, that's big.
That's a big hornet. Mm-hmm.
I have not read too much about these things. Okay. I see them come up my feed. I'm like, oh, well, what do you know?
Mm-hmm. They've got faces that could only make a mother cry. Then, what they do is a swarm will come into a beehive, attack all the bees, tear off their heads.
Well, that's good for you, right?
No. Honeybees are fine. I mean, I don't like them, but they do their thing. It's fine.
They tear off their heads.
And then take the thoraxes and feed them to the young.
Ugh.
Just think about that process. Like, hey, little buddies, guess who brought home some 10 thoraxes? Go chomp on these things. Those aren't nice bees.
Those are hornets.
I'm very upset. You're right. They're wasps. The murder hornets. I'm very upset by these.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You think that I'm joking? I'm not. I'm actually not happy that these things are coming to the United States. And if we have to use a nuclear option, I'm okay with that.
So for your birthday next year, you'll get a little swarm of like murder hornets, like as pets, just to overcome your fear.
If you do, I will leave. There's no. We're gone. Those things.
Well, I don't know. Maybe your mom would get those for you. Oh, I just thought that,
And I would never talk to her again. We all have to have our lines, our boundaries in life, and that is one of them. Murder hornets are not okay with me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I'm not particularly excited about the murder hornets either.
Right. So if you see one, kill it. Have no mercy. We don't need it. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Well, let us know if you have any questions or anything that you would like us to. This Tracker Jackers. Yes, they're like the Tracker Jackers. From
yes,
games.
They are.
So
is that my sister who said that?
No, that was Jen.
Oh, that was Jen. Okay,
yeah.
I thought I saw my sister's picture come up. Selena?
Selena did come up. Yes, at least we'll see them coming. She also apologized for missing her birthday, I believe.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. I actually prefer it.
She was terribly sorry.
Aww. So at least we see them coming. Oh no.
Let us know if you got any questions for us. Let me give a little shout out to my nieces here on the old camera. Hello there, Rachel and Rosalie and Laura. I hope that you're doing better today. I hear that you weren't feeling so good yesterday. I'm very sorry. That makes me very sad that you were not feeling very well yesterday, but I hope you feel good today. And I hope that everything is better today. So get well, and we'll see you soon. So bye. Also, hello to the Dryland girls if you're there, and I hope you're feeling well as well. Back to the show. Very good. So what else have you been working on there, Father Ashmore?
Nothing.
Nothing? We've been working on the website, which is exciting.
Right. We have no news to share just yet. We're just doing research at this point.
Right.
We will be doing... So one thing that I'm trying to communicate to everybody about the website is, yes, we know it's bad. And I'm not going to be working on any short-term solutions at this point. Like if you look at our website and you think, hey, I want to improve the website this way, just be patient. We're doing the whole thing over again. So if you have any major suggestions about features or something in the website that you think could be useful, send them on this way. But if you're thinking about adding anything to this website we have right now, my goal is just to maintain this until we can reintroduce the brand new website that we will be introducing, which will be different from the ground up. Everything will be brand new on it. Yep. So it'll be using the best of the web technologies. That this website was built in, I think, 2012, and with that, it was built in it was built, I would argue, in more like a 2008-2009 website style. So it's not very sustainable. It needs a lot of updating. The technology behind it is okay, but it's not great. The website we will be doing, if everything goes well, will be really top notch, and will serve our community much better.
Yeah.
So
we've been hearing about it for months about how maybe even since I've got here that the website needs work, and so we are just finishing up our contract, I think, right?
We are, yeah. I believe June 22nd is the end of our contract. If that's the number I remember.
With this company, so it gave us a chance to kind of reevaluate, see if we wanted to move forward with this company or whatever. So so updates are coming. So Father Ashmore he's got all kinds of talents. So him, along with Raphael, our music director, also has a lot of computer background. So we are working on it, and we recognize that that's really important, especially during this time.
Right.
The virtual community is so very important, and it's just not. But it's not a quick fix. It's a couple months at least fix. So we have a meeting right after Fireside Chat here today to kind of do some more brainstorming. But we have been getting several emails about, hey, could we do this with the website? And I think we're kind of putting those in the save file, and we're listening to all those things and taking those into account and trying to serve our community best. So
exactly. Be patient. You don't even have to really be that patient. I think we're going to have a new one within a month and a half to 2 months. Okay. I would say June 22nd is our end date. If we don't have anything by June 22nd, we're in trouble. So we will have something before then. We hope. We just have to make the decision and then think about everything properly. Right. But so here's a pet peeve that I have with parishes.
Do tell.
Let me tell you pet peeves.
Okay.
So, you know what grinds my gears? Wasn't that like a section on some old radio store show? You know what grinds my gears about parishes sometimes?
What grinds your gears about parishes sometimes?
What grinds my gears about parishes is that sometimes we think in very short-term solutions.
Sure.
We're really bad about that.
Yeah, is that just parishes, or is that like...
That's everything, but parishes in particular. Mm-hmm. Because it's really easy to want to do a stopgap solution, and then we're really bad. The parishes are really bad. I'm not saying Good Shepherd itself, but all parishes are really bad about taking that short-term solution and extending it. Here's an example of that. The monastery at which I went to seminary for my first 4 years built temporary buildings in the 1960s. They're called St. Benedict's and St. Mary's. They were supposed to last 10 to 15 years so that they could build a whole new seminary in that time. These are the flimsiest little buildings. If you blow on them too hard, they knock over. They still exist to this day, and they never built the seminary. They've existed 40 years, and they're meant to exist for 10 years. We still use them to this very day. You've slept in them.
I have, yes. Mm-hmm. They are very flimsy. I've been in them twice when they fell over. We had to pull them all back
Exactly.
up.
It's actually a whole process now. It's not too bad. You take some rope, tie it to the back of the heaviest guy. He kind of turtles on over. It's quite a scene. Father Colin Hagen actually had to do it twice. He's a big boy. So little shuffle, move.
But churches do that. They often build the social hall, which with the intention of building the church eventually, and then they never get out of the social hall or the gym. So like where I was at Our Lady of Unity, there are two churches there, Sacred Heart and St. John the Evangelist. Sacred Heart was built to be the gym connected to the school, and then eventually they would build the church. Well, that was in whatever that was, 1960 or whatever, 1950s, and still no church there. So, I mean, they've accommodated well. Now, many of those churches are like that. Let's see here. But many of them have moved in quite nicely, I think. Or at least to the point that you wouldn't know that they were necessarily a gym. They might look, well, this is a little bit of an odd shape, but you wouldn't. But like, so Holy Spirit is one of the great examples. I mean, that does not look at all like a gym. And they did a recent renovation that really just...
it's quite a beautiful little chapel.
It is, it is. But that was built to be their gym. And then they built a different gym, and then that ended up being their permanent church. And it's pretty nice. Holy Cross did a pretty nice job there. It doesn't feel... And they did a renovation there, and it doesn't feel too... It doesn't feel like a gym at all, really. And then St. Pius there in Mission... that's one of my favorites because I mean, you still see the cinder blocks walls and everything, but on they must have, because they don't have a whole lot of money there at St. Pius, I don't think, but on a shoestring budget, they really made it look quite nice. And I mean, it's not going to win any awards for beautiful church architecture or anything, but as far as a pretty good conversion of a gym space with having no money at all or very little money, they did a nice job. So, and then Sacred Heart, it still feels kind of gymmy. You can see the cinder block wall, but we did some like paint on there, a new carpet and everything. So it was able to at least elevate it a little bit. So,
one of my goals in life is to never do stopgap solutions. I don't expect.
Good luck to you there, Father Ashford.
I don't expect to achieve that goal, but if I have that as my goal, so this is why the website's going to take a little bit longer to. While we're processing everything, we are planning to do a solution that will last 10 years. That's my thought.
Yeah, good.
Last 10 years, because a website lasting that long is actually quite a miracle. But I'm not saying that the website as we build it on day one will last 10 years, but that we are building the foundation for building and maintaining that can be updated for 10 years. Whereas a lot of what we have right now is stuck according to the technology they were using in 2012, which was kind of like 2008 technology. We are building on I know, they're basically cavemen.
Right.
I mean, they were pointing and grunting and typing their code with their thumb. Exactly. It was very barbaric. But my goal is to make a long-term project with this. Not long-term project, a long-term solution with this. So,
I mean, you do some stopgaps. I mean, you did some minor updating to the website, and so that was
certainly,
good.
Certainly,
so,
yeah.
Which is very, very good and very helpful. And just changing some pictures, updating some of that stuff, putting a few different links on there. That was very helpful. So we had to do a little bit of stopgapping, but
certainly.
Yes, our plan is to plan for the future and get that right. Speaking of which, how long are we going to be in Mac OS 10?
Mac OS 10?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, I mean, we will be in Mac OS 10 probably until the end of time.
But they were doing like all these, like the 9 came out and then 10, and then it just like, why was never 11 or 12? What happened?
Well, so firstly, you got to understand how versioning numbers work. Then you've got to understand how the Mac OS operating system naming scheme worked. So I believe... I'd have to double check what the early Mac OSs were called, but they weren't called Mac OS blank number. It was called System This. So that continued until System 7.
Okay.
So that System 7 was released back in 92, 93, something like that. Maybe 91. I mean, System 7 was around for a long time. Then System 8 was put out, and they, during the whole process of that, they were developing a new operating system called Copeland that went nowhere. It was a disaster. And there were a lot of really
the dark
ideas.
years of the Macs.
Exactly. So they were trying to develop a whole new operating system, but it all kind of fell apart. And so they did Mac OS 9 as a stopgap solution. And OS 9 is essentially OS 8 with a little bit of what should have been in Copeland and a little bit of a new paint on top of it, you might think of it.
Okay.
Then they took OS 10, and OS 10 is a whole new operating system. It has no fundamental relationship to the previous operating systems. So we are still using that code base of OS 10. and that's
Okay.
why it's still OS 10.
I see.
And then the numbering scheme for version numbering goes 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, then 0.10, 11, 12,
Right.
13. So the version numbering is still OS 10 point this because it's still building off the code base of OS 10.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Fascinating.
It is. Well, yes, because I remember when OS 10 came out, and I was expecting there to be 11, and then a 12, and there never was.
There would have been nope, because it's the same Unix-based code base there. So that's nerdy. I enjoy that nerdy history, but
That's why he's working on the website, and that's why I can handle Facebook, and that's about it. So, did God create killer bees, or are they a product of human errors?
it depends. No, well, it
Tracker checkers.
it really, when it comes to the individual species, there could be some human involvement in there. I don't know. Maybe this is a plot from the Chinese government to come and take over the United States. Maybe, I don't know. Bees aren't real. Murder bees aren't real. Anyways, actually, I was talking about one of my theology teachers about this issue before, because there are some animals in the world that are terrible, just horrendous little creatures. Like, why do wolverines exist? There's no good reason. Why do praying mantises exist that eat their mate after they mate with them? That's not an image of a good thing. And most of the time when we look at the world, we see the world as analogs for God's goodness. So how can these things exist? Why would God allow them to exist? And his answer was, I thought, brilliant. And I mentioned this to you the other day.
Yeah, it's good.
That God creates some of these things as analogs for evil. So when we look at these killer murder bees that tear off heads and feed the thoraxes to the young,
Yes.
we see an image of evil,
Yes.
an image of moral evil.
Okay.
That what they're doing physically, this physical evil they're doing, is a warning against us, a warning to us that we are not to be like murder hornets. We're not to be like praying mantises. These are images for moral evil.
Yeah,
So
that's a great way to think of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that before, but that's great. Because why do mosquitoes exist? Or pick your worthless insect or whatever. And sure, for the ecology of the earth, that's probably way more than we can understand. And bees are really important, for instance, for the pollination and all those things. But some things we look at like, why? So I like that. I like that way of thinking of some of those things that just seem to us to be really just evil. That yes, maybe they're supposed to be, and supposed to remind us of what evil looks like.
And that's not to say there couldn't be some human involvement here.
Sure.
For all I know, murder hornets may have had their genes messed with at some point. Or I'm not claiming that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying there could be a human involvement there. But when we look at normal evolutionary processes, it's
and some of that, like for other things, like not caring for the earth. I mean, that was the whole thing of Pope Francis's letter was about care for our common home or whatever. Of that we want to be good stewards of the earth that has been created by God, and when we aren't, sometimes it has huge ramifications on the world and the balance that God has given to us if we are not using things properly, whatever. So deforestation or not properly taking care of oceans or whatever can have huge ramifications that can be really terrible for humanity. So,
but as I always say with a good friend of mine, we're getting a new Earth anyway, so.
Right, I shall give you new heavens and new earth.
Getting a new heavens and new Earth. Let's look forward to the next one.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
let's get this Mars project going so we can get out there.
That's a good point. Oh my.
Was I talking about that Mars series on Netflix? I think it was on National Geographic, but
No.
it's pretty interesting. I watched the first season and I watched a little bit of the second season. I haven't watched much of it, but it's pretty interesting. It's like half documentary and half dramatization, if you will. So it has current scientists like Elon Musk. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Sounds like a like a cologne or something.
It's true.
So Elon Musk and other scientists or whatever talking currently about what it will take for us to get to Mars and all these different processes. And then also at the same time, it kind of goes back and forth. It tells the story of these first astronauts to Mars and what that looks like, and it's telling this story. So it's very interesting. It's half documentary and half story. So anyway, I think it's called just Mars, and it's on Netflix, and it was from the National Geographic thing. It was pretty interesting show.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
We have that obvious question that everybody's right now trying to go to the moon, and then they're going to use the moon as a launching pad essentially to go to Mars. And that's obviously very, very exciting. I wonder what we think we're going to learn by going to Mars itself, though. It's just a question on my heart. We can, not on my heart, on my mind. I'm not like
we're taking this to
weighing
prayer.
upon 3 o'clock in the morning. What shall we learn from Mars? No. I'm curious. We want men to go to Mars, women and men to go to Mars, yet we already have robots there. I do wonder what we'll learn. There may be a good scientist who can tell me. I don't know. It seems to be. Is it just our desire to go on an adventure? Like the humankind wants to go to Mars, so we can put our feet on there.
That's part of it. Yes.
Yeah. That's an interesting desire, isn't it?
Well, that exploration. We've explored most of this world, not all of it yet. I mean, there's still more to be explored here, but I mean, like the depths of the oceans and stuff have not been explored to their fullest, I don't think yet. But yeah, I think that there's that desire, and then just for also just kind of sustainability of humanity as well. I think of finding a new home as well. I think there is that interest and that desire. So concern about is the multiplication of humans here.
Right.
Is there enough room on this planet? And do we need a second planet?
Right. Don't we have gravity issues though? Isn't the force of gravity so much stronger on Mars? I believe it is, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I mean, you obviously can't breathe out there, so you have to have
right.
And I think it's freezing up there because it's further away from the sun.
Very cold. I don't like being cold.
Right. So I mean, you have to create a completely false atmosphere,
it doesn't seem worth it to me.
Well, yes, I wonder the same thing. Yes,
like what do they think we're going to bring back? Oil from Mars?
Maybe.
Yeah, Mars oil.
But you should watch this series, or it's interesting about this. But it does talk about that. I think that first desire of exploration of where let's continue to go. We've gone everywhere this planet offers. What else is there out in the universe? And so I think it may, and also just kind of the first. I mean, it's the closest planet. So if we were to do further exploration,
certainly,
I think Mars would be the first step.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's no question about Mars. I mean, if Venus, we would die immediately. Mars, you have to go to. It's an interesting thought. Like, what is aching the human heart that we have to go to these places? I'm very content with this world. I mean, I look at the Mars expedition and I wonder, like, what do you actually think you're going to achieve? Now, obviously, we would discover things that we never have discovered. One of the best things for humankind was the space race because we found out so many more technologies during that.
Sure.
So that could be part of it, that desire there.
Well, as this documentary / show talks about, there are many things that we are learning just by doing this whole thing, and I can't think of any of those things at the moment because I wasn't necessarily prepared to talk about Mars, but
the conversation goes as it wills.
Right.
You hear its voice, but you don't know where it comes or where it goes.
Right.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
But yes, there's all kinds of scientific things that they're learning about the process and like the process of being. Yeah, what does it take to live in a confined environment for that duration, the psychological pieces there.
Right.
So, yeah.
A part of it, I think, is my personality. My personality is not such that I can't give myself to things that will pass away.
Sure.
It's just part of me. I remember my dad was talking. My dad is a nuclear engineer. He works on nuclear power plants. Well, he worked. He's now retired. And he was helping to build the Westinghouse AP1000. It was a new nuclear reactor series, and he loved it. He thought it was so great. And I remember listening to him one point talking about his nuclear reactor, how he was working on the control systems during that time, some of the new technologies they were introducing then. And I remember thinking to myself, like, that's going to go away in 70 years. Part of my personality is not such I can give to things that won't.
And yet you're building a website, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not really my passion in life. It's not.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yes. Well, yeah. You. Right. I mean, we want to be spending our energies on those things that will not pass away, like heaven and souls and all those things. But
and it's not bad. Here, it's not bad. I'm not saying nobody should be working on things in this world. No, not at all. I'm just saying I always find that pursuit fascinating because it doesn't speak to my heart at all. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, it's neat, science fiction. I kind of like science. It's okay, but at the same time, I'm far more the timeless things are what attracts my heart.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. Glad you're a priest. That's good. That's a good attitude to have for a priest. So, well, I don't see a whole lot of questions here this morning, unless I'm missing something here. So we're just kind of rambling on about Mars and websites and everything. So, do you have anything else that you wanted to share there, Father Ashmore, today? Mm-hmm. So, yes, everything in this world is going to pass away. That is true. So, those captions are back. I think yes, it must be just for us. It's the weirdest thing. So. Well, Father Ashmore, what is your passion?
What is my passion?
Sissy.
Oh, I think you see it. I love studying. So theology is a great passion of mine. I love language. I love music. I love literature. Mm-hmm. I love people. I love working with people.
I love lamp.
I think it's those are the things that really attract my heart. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. The things that actually make life better, because in many ways, we live in a society of scientism. We presume that the pursuit of singing, yes, yeah, exactly. The website will help people access things like that. That's right. We presume that the scientific search, quote unquote scientific search, is going to make things better. But I don't think we live that much better than we did 100 years ago. Now, obviously, medical technology. There's lots of things that make our lives easier.
Microwaves.
But is it microwaves? Yeah, exactly. There are things that make our lives easier and make life more possible. So there's certainly things that the scientific revolution or the technological revolution help us do. We couldn't be doing this without the technological revolution. So
yes,
I'm not negating all those things. But that's not necessarily better. Is a human heart better now than 100 years ago? I don't think so.
Right.
Those are the big questions in life. Scientism presumes that greater technology is always making the human life better, and I don't think it necessarily does.
Right, and I think we would all agree to that too. I mean, that's part of this, as we sometimes call this great pause of the pandemic, of some of those things that we spent all of our lives, or so much of our time working on and spending our time on, is like, well, is that really worth it? And those kind of timeless things of family and relationships and talking to one another, we realize perhaps more the value of those things. So,
certainly. Yeah. When I think about working with souls, I'm working with not an eternal, but an immortal being. Mm-hmm. When I'm working with the 8th graders, I have an effect, I pray, that will be good for all of eternity.
Yeah.
Because it will bring them into eternity, God willing. It will help I can be a part of that. That's far more exciting to me.
Sure.
Every soul is immortal. Every person that you meet is immortal. They're going to pass through this life and go on to a next life. And that's so much more exciting to me.
Yeah.
To be able to work through those situations. Because you were working in a way that's not your realm. You're working in a thing that you can't quantify. Mm-hmm. It's so much harder because you can't quantify it. Mm-hmm. But the effects of it are are endless.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Somebody can see the beatific vision through our work. If we work through God's hands, if we do it humbly, if we do it as true pastors, somebody can see the beatific vision because of our work.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's far more exciting to me than building some, doodad in the sky.
Doodad.
That should be the title of this one. Some doodad in the sky.
Some doodad in the sky. Well, thanks for tuning in. I think that, do you have anything that you want to share from the Ashcam today?
You've seen me talking plenty today, so.
All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in today, and hopefully you have a beautiful day, and I think that's all we got for today.
All right. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
All right, thank you so much.
God bless you.